Today's show is sponsored by you, the viewers. Please make donations and contributions to Streamlabs at Crumley Cake 1969, Subscribestar, or Patreon, or Entropy. All the links are in the description box below. Happy clicking. Daily Meditations, the teachings of Lao Tzu. Words can never convey the beauty of a tree. To understand it, you must see it with your own eyes. Language cannot capture the melody of a song. To understand it, you must hear it with your own ears. So it is with the Tao. The only way to understand it is to directly experience it. Okay, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Daily Tips for Composing for Classical Guitar. And today we're going to be looking at and continuing our little sort of deep dive here about voice leading and chord tones. Today we're going to be looking at chord tones and tensions. Okay, little heads up to people on BitChute. If you're watching me on Rumble or Odyssey, and you see my link to BitChute, you'll see my BitChute videos. Though they're not videos, they're actually links to the YouTube video. I upload these videos to YouTube because BitChute won't let me upload the files because the files are too big. But I can upload on Odyssey and Rumble, no problem. Even YouTube, despite the file size. So I don't know why. Yeah, maybe they don't have enough servers or something. Yeah, well, that guy, he's a rich guy over there at BitChute, so he should buy some more servers maybe and help us out here. But that's why you're seeing videos where it says streaming starting soon, right? And it'll just go for like 30 seconds or a minute, whatever, and then you'll see a link at the bottom. It says YouTube video. You'll see a direct link to the video you're going to watch there. But yeah, go ahead. I guess you're going to have to watch them on there for now until they get it figured out. Anyway, before we get started, hit me up on my alt tech platforms like Gab, Minds, BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey. And if you want to see my backlog of videos, you can check out my Facebook page. I have all my old live streams I did for composing for the classical guitar, so you can check those out. Link in the description box below. Go check it out. And one other thing, if you want to share a piece of music you've written for guitar, share it with us. You can get a hold of me at crumleycake@gmail.com. That's crumleycake@gmail.com. And you can send me a sample of a guitar piece you've written, and I can look at it and study it and analyze it. I could do a live stream, too, of it, maybe bring on the show. I offer lessons, too, composition lessons and some guitar lessons, if you like. So anyway, have that said, let's get into the voice leading chord tones. So let's take a look here. My guitar is disappearing. Okay, that's fine. Let me see. Let me move this over more. There you go. That's better. Let me scrunch this over there. And let me stretch this out at the bottom. I kind of like doing this videos like this, like kind of like a live stream format. It's much more off the cuff, much more organic. And then we're going to increase the size a little bit. So here we go. So we're looking at this. This is a good website, actually, Berkeley Online, voice leading guitar tones. I'm going to kind of read some of it, what they say here, and kind of give my interpretation of it, and see how it holds up, see if it's worth doing. So voice leading chord tones and tensions. Yeah, well, in the classical, it says, in the classical voice leading tradition, there are strict rules that govern how individual chord tones and tensions should move in harmonic progression. Of course, yeah. You got to follow the guidelines when you're going from a dominant 7 to a 1 chord. So, but in jazz might be a little bit different, and sometimes it's actually more difficult to follow those strict guidelines on guitar. Interesting things start to happen because when the voice leading they're talking about is usually applicable to keyboard, some kind of keyboard instrument. Everything's tuned that way in like these thirds. So it's easier to regulate the voice leading and what they call traditional voice leading, and it's easier to follow those guidelines. I mean, you could do it on guitar, but it's going to be a little more difficult. You're going to run into problems. So let's take a look at the problems you're going to see. Okay, so they're talking about functional jazz harmony, and we talked about this before, where when you're playing your jazz chords, usually you like to play your jazz chords in the middle of the guitar, from the 5th string to the 2nd string, and try to do that too when you write a composition. It makes it a little easier. It does fit more naturally when you're doing things in the middle of the guitar rather than the whole entire fretboard. So kind of limit your your voice leading, your voices. Okay, in general, voice leading favors conservation of motion, of course. Chord progressions sound smoothest when each note of the chord moves in stepwise motion. Now, that is true. That is a strict guideline that you've got to follow in tonal music. Stepwise motion. Let me highlight that. Nice big red. So stepwise motion is very important, whether it's a minor second or a half step. You want to keep everything moving in a smooth voice leading. You don't want wide intervals. I studied piano theory. I studied music theory from a brass player, and he told me, he emphasized this a lot because he said, and I never forget this, that brass players aren't going to be too happy if you're writing a part for brass and you got these wide voice leaps of these wide leaps in the voices. They're not going to like that. So try to keep your everything stepwise motion, and that goes true for guitar as well. Avoid wide steps, stepwise motion, or short leaps of no more than a major third. Exactly. So, I mean, you can get away with a sixth, but a third is more ideal. But sixes work too. But keep it modest. Okay, same thing. To correspond to chord tones and tensions in the next chord. Okay. So here's a typical 2-5-1 chord progression. Where we have the seventh of the chord, which is the case is a dominant 7 flat 9, and it moves, it resolves to the major chord. So let's take a look here. So we have the 2-5-1. 2, here's your 2 chord. 2, and then it moves to the flat 9. Then it moves to. Okay, so that works. So the top voice, and we talked about this the other day about voice leading too, how you find common tones. So let's look for common tones here, but the shared tone between all these chords here. Okay, we have an A, then we have an A flat, then a G. Okay, there's a nice descending chromatic line. That's good. That's kind of a common tone, but it's not shared between all the chords. Then we have F. That's shared. That's the third, which becomes the seventh of the next chord, and then it resolves down to E there. That's the third of the next chord, and then we have an A, which goes down to a B, and also a G, and then but the B stays the same for the one chord, and then we have D. Yeah, you could say D here. You could also even say D here for a C major chord. You know what I mean? Because you got D here. You also have D in this GBD. If you voice it the way they do it, you avoid the D, but the D is common, and also could be common in here. There's your D. There's the ninth right there. So actually, you can make this work with all the notes with D. All the chords can share the note D in it. Now, instead of doing a D minor 7 chord like this, like they say, maybe you can change it to something like this. A little fuller sounding. Or something like this. Now, if we invert this and put the D, like first inversion, what if we put D, what if we do F, and we do F, we start with F, and we put the D on the top voice. So we have F, A, D. Now we need C. That's going to be a little bit harder. See, we're going to do this. There's C, there's D. Now D, we got D in the top voice. There you go. Okay, there you go. F, we need F. There you go, we get it. So we got F in the bass now. I'm gonna rearrange this so the common tone will be D for all 3 chords. Let's do it. Okay. So we got D in the middle voice right there. We got F, it's the first inversion. Now we can keep the D. We can go down, let's see, we can keep the D. We can flat the 9. And we can, aha, there's your G dominant 7 flat 9. There you go. So we have, starting with the first inversion with F in the bass, D minor 7. We keep the D. Right? and then we move the ninth down, we flat the ninth, we still keep the D, then we move the seventh down to the third. So far so good. The seventh goes to the third of the next chord, and guess where we go from there? We can keep the C chord, we can keep the D, we can flat the A flat, we can actually keep the top voice here and go down to G, keep the D, keep the B, and then now put the, there you go. So we got a common tone. What do you think of that? Let's try that again. There you go. There's a 2-5-1 starting with the D minor 7 with first inversion with the F in the bass. And then we go down to G dominant 7 flat 9, the diminished. And then we resolve to A. And we have D throughout the whole chord. There you go. There's a common tone, D, all throughout that whole thing. Now here's their chord progression. Okay, I think mine sounds better. So there you go. You can find common tones there. And that's one of them. I created a chord progression with D having the common tone without changing that note. D can stay throughout the whole chord progression. All right. Let's see. So keep that in mind when you're doing these kind of chord voice leadings there with tensions. All right, let's take a look at another chord here. What do they have here? When moving from a dominant 7 to a 1 chord, major to minor, the 7th of the 5/7 chord resolves to the 3rd. We already talked about that. Conversely, the 3rd of the 7th chord resolves to the 7th. We already talked about that too. We talked about that in the Handel Passacaglia, where Handel does this same thing with these series of secondary dominants, where the 7th of the chord resolves to the 3rd, and then the 3rd of the chord of the 7th chord resolves to the 7th of the 1 chord. Right. So, for example, we have a D minor 9 chord, G, and then C 9. There you go. So there you go. That's what they're talking about. So we don't need to go into that. We already talked about that. Let's see. Now, here's something interesting, doubling. Now, you want to avoid doubling here. Yeah, I'm going to try to make this a 15-minute video. See if I can, shorten the video a little bit, and then maybe we can get it on BitChute directly instead of provide a link. Okay, in the following example, the 3rd of the dominant 7 chord is doubled. The first F does not move. The first F does not move and becomes the 7th of G7, right? Oh, there it is. There's the 7th. Does not move. The other F resolves downward to E. Right there. Yeah, they have to go down to E, which is the 13th. Okay, so it kind of looked like this. Then we have some and then we have that kind of thing they're talking about. Okay. So let's see. Is there anything else you want to talk? Let's go to tensions really quick. I can cover some more of this later, but running out of time here. Voice leading chord tensions. Okay, so jazz musician will almost always add color to the basic chords by using tensions. And these we talked about before, 9th, 11th, and 13th. Placed above the basic chord, tensions are non-essential tones used to add color to the chord, yes. And these tensions are rarely indicated in most jazz charts. Of course, you have to use them as your discretion. However, each musician chooses... Okay, well, I just said that. Tensions, like chord tones, have very specific behaviors, as indicated in the following examples. The resolutions in the examples below are common 2-5-1 chord progression. Okay, let's see how they resolve these tensions. We have a flat 9 on top. There's this. Yeah, this should resolve stepwise. You notice the flat 9 resolves down. But we have something like in this figure number 10 there, you have the 9th up there. And then it should go to, what the hell is this? Okay. We're going to have to do, no, you can't do that. We have E. Maybe we can make, oh, there it goes. So we have the 9th stays the same. that stays the same on top, and then we have stays the same. A. Okay, so the ninth stays the same and it becomes the sixth of the next chord. Okay, it can also resolve up, flat 9 to the seventh. So we have a flat 9, but that's a leap of a third. Flat 9, G dominant 7, flat 9 13, and that will go up to the 6-9 chord. So there's a case where that flat 9 can go up a third, which is kind of a little bit counterintuitive. That's an unusual one. That rarely will leap up that high, but most of these resolve stepwise, as you can see there. All right, so let me stop there and okay, finding the correct. Okay, we'll go next time. We'll maybe continue a little bit about tensions, and then we'll complete that. And then we'll look at the chord, the correct chord scale. That's important too. Look at some of those kind of ideas there. All right, that's it for today's episode. Is there anything else you'd like me to cover or I missed or something? Let me know. Tomorrow is no video. It's a holiday in Japan. I'm going to take the day off. I am going to do a stream. I'm going to stream Far Cry Primal with my brother, but that will be streamed on Twitch and Facebook. That's what will be streamed. So check it out. Check my Twitter account. I usually post there when I do streaming. I usually post it like about 30 minutes before I do the stream. So there won't be any video. Tomorrow I'll be doing a stream for hopefully for a long time. Tomorrow morning my time, maybe around 8 a.m. Japan time. So check that out on my Twitch and Facebook page. Links are in the description box below. All right. Thanks for coming out. We'll see you next video. Bye-bye.